Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. So today we will check out this moons and umbrella, the problem from CodeJam, Google CodeJam 2021, and we have covered reverse sort engineering, median sort, and we have skipped this since we are discussing only about sorting, right? So we thought of we will do it now. Okay. So here it's easy to achieve 5 points and 11 points, but this 1 point is a bit tricky actually. So let me come down, and by the way I will leave in this video description the link for this website, and you can just go through the problem statement and try to understand what exactly they're telling, and I'll just directly jump into the solution okay, rather than reading the entire thing. Okay, so here our main thing goal is to minimize the score. Okay, so they will be giving you a set of characters, and if it has question mark, so we can update it either with a C or J. Okay, so such that the score should be minimum. The first integer represents the CJ score, and second integer represents JC score. And when we add this, okay, CJ is nothing but 2, and here we can add any character. And here also, since if you add J here, then it will be like JJ and JC, and if you add C here, JC and CC. So it doesn't matter what we add. Okay, so we can consider JC only. So CJ is 2, JC is 3, 3 plus 2 is 5, and CC is 0, so it's 5. Same thing here also. Here CJ, JC, CJ. So 4 plus 2 plus 4, which is equal to 10. And here it is like whatever we update, it will be CJ always. So first answer is 1 here, and here we can update everything as J, so that it will be 0. So we get a minimum score. Okay, this is like very easy for the test set 1 and test set 2. Okay, and as you see here in the completed attempt, I have actually succeeded with this test 1 and 2. Okay, but I was like failed at this one 3. Okay, so it's very tricky actually. The logic used here is entirely different from the logic which we used here. First, I think in first 2 minutes I will just go through this how to solve the test set 1 and 2, then I will solve the test set 3. Okay, so let's quickly define. Okay, so T is equal, and this is all standard stuff. And let me define read this for every test case. I have to read this, so let me store it in a temporary value, or we can just make it as x comma y comma, and maybe this str1 I'll keep, since str is a predefined word, and nothing but dot. Okay, so I think here we are reading all these three values. Then we will convert x and y into integers. Okay, so now I think we have to, as I told you, we have to ignore this question mark for this test case 1 and 2, because whatever you update here, okay, so if you update J or C, it always will be like JC only. One JC will be there no matter what. Here you can always update it as C, so you can also ignore completely. So we always just replace that. So answer is nothing but str1 dot replace question mark with blank, and then after replacing that, just take a count of CJ. Okay, and how many counts we have, those times we have to multiply it with the x, and plus same thing we have to repeat for y. That's all done. Very simple, right? So that's all. I believe everything is perfect, and let me submit the solution. Okay, so it will fail for test set 3. So test set 3 is like bit tricky actually. So if I come over to this analysis tab, so you can see here they have mentioned the logic here. Okay, from here I got the idea, but in while trying it in this when I tried in during the competitive attempt, I have given like a lot of if loops and also, and I replaced this question mark with the previous character, which actually not required. Later I realized that, so we can just make it like replace all the question mark with the blank, so we can ignore that. And by this a failed. So when I is equal to this, j is equal to dot to split and into y. Okay, I think I'm just not defining the main. Just give me 1 second. Okay, this should work. Yeah, just I forgot this to call this main function, and this is not in Python. You know, I think this is not required. You can just write this code. This main is not required, but yeah, it's a good practice to have this. Okay, once we finish this, let's go. Yeah, as you see here, we have failed this test set 3. Now let us try to understand what is this test set 3. Okay, so if we for that, I think let me show you the logic. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to define a data set. Okay, for every character in this string str1, we have to define data set. That's why I'm written here. Data set is nothing but the length of data set, nothing but length of the string, but it should be two-dimensional data set, and there should be two values so for every inner list. Okay, and it should be a very large number. Okay, I have considered large number as 10 power 5 because here we have test set, the length can go up to the string length is nothing but around 1000 at length of s, and this is 100, so I thought of like just multiply it and take it up 10 power 5. But if you're confused, you can take it to a large number also, like 10 power 9, 10 power 10 and all, but I just taken 10 power 5. And once we have finished that, then we just go through this every test case. Unlike the test case test set 1 and test set 2, we cannot ignore here question mark, because we may have the negative numbers for CJ and JC combinations, and that is more preferable to make the overall answer as negative. Okay, that's why we should not ignore this negative question mark here actually. So what we need to do here is, like, we need to define this here, like starting with a large number, and we have to keep on finding the minimum. We have to keep on trying to add all the combinations. Let me show you the presentation so that it will be more clear. Okay, so for example, I am considering this I mean, this also works for the test set 1 and 2 also. So first I will go through this this scenario for test set 1 or 2 examples. Okay, then I will show you the negative sample. Okay, here we have this, and here the value for x and y is like 2 and 3. Okay, so so that for every character we are defining this data set of equal length but two-dimensional. And okay, so I will just come back to this. For starting character, always one character means always it should be 0 only, and it depends if it is J or C. Okay, so first the column represents C and second column represents J, and when we as we go down we have to keep on accumulating all the combination. Okay, so that's what I'm defining it over here. Okay, starting it's a C, so here I'm defining 0 and this I'm ignoring as it is, keeping as it is. And here when it comes to this part it is J, so the combination here can be CJ, as you mentioned, as you see below here, right? It is CJ. And let me just okay, I think now I hope that that mouse was not visible, I believe, so that's why I'm just brought this cursor. And here I think we have to see here the combination will be CJ, C and J. Okay, then we have next question mark. A question mark can be C or J. Okay, so what happens is it can be okay, minimum of, we have to just try to take a minimum. Okay, this minimum nothing but like JJ, okay, combination, and also we have to compare with the JC, right? So JC is nothing but 3. Okay, so and here we are taking 3, right? So 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. So if you see here it can be CJ, and we have to keep on accumulating. Okay, so JC is 3 here. Okay, so that's why it will become 2 plus 3 as you are seeing here, this CJC combination. And for this CJJ combination 2 plus 0, so it will be 2. Okay, and when it comes to C, it's not question mark right now, so only considering the first one, and this accumulation will come from here to here, and we have to compare this this number like JC or CC. But when we compare from here to here, the minimum value will flow, okay, from there behind to here. And also the value, which is nothing but this value, will remain as it is, because here we are not considering J. Okay, we are not considering that J, because this is right now we are considering C. I think this may be a little confusing, but when you do a debugging on your own from your whatever language you write, okay, either C++ or Python, Java, whatever. So when you do type this logic and debug, right, you'll understand it. And code will be anyway available in GitHub. So that's what we are doing. Okay, and here next step again we are considering first character C only, and J we are ignoring. And here if it's question mark we have to consider both, and here we are like the previous character also came 5 plus CJ, so CJ is nothing but 2, so it is 7, it will become 7, and 5, and finally we are finding the minimum of this, which is nothing but 5 and 7, which is nothing but 5. So we are taking that minimum value because of accumulation of everything. Okay, so I hope this is clear. So maybe I'll take one more example so it will be more clear. Here we are, since we don't have any question mark, so we are considering only corresponding columns. For example, in here we are considering this column, and here we are considering this column, here we are considering this column, and we are considering this column. So here okay, so when we consider this scenarios, so what will happen is like we are considering here C, right? So this is will be 0. Next we are considering J. Okay, J is nothing but we have to consider CJ, so which is nothing but 4. So we're considering here 4. And when it comes here JC, so we are accumulating J plus C, sorry, the previous this one CJ, and plus the new one JC. JC is nothing but 2, so we are considering here 6. So CJC 4 plus 2, and then finally we are considering all characters, so CJC, which is 6 plus CJ, that will come under J column. Okay, and we are finding the minimum of this, which is and we'll find this as the answer. Okay, now let us consider the negative indices. Okay, so and here we have all question marks for test set 1 and test set 2. Okay, so if we use the previous approach, then we will replace everything with the J value, right, which it will come as 0. Okay, which will be like correct in test set 1 and 2. But for when it comes to 3, we want to find a negative minimum value, and negative is the can be considered as the best combinations, best minimum value. Okay, so we have to replace this here as J. Okay, so if you like try to without any this, right, and without any logic, if you try to see directly, you understand that okay, if you JC is negative here, this is nothing but JC value, so you should apply JC wherever possible in the question mark. So if you apply JC in the first, then remaining two characters are like constant JJ, and then I think I'm writing it. Maybe I'll write it below. So here JC you have to consider JC, and this J remains as it is, these two J's, and again we have to consider JC, because JC will give us a negative score. So this JC and this JC will give you -10, right? But when we apply JC here, we also have the CJ, so which is like nothing but plus 2, which will give you the value of -8. So that is what the final answer will be. Okay, now let us go through this logic here. Since it's a question mark, we are considered both the scenarios. So we are starting with 0, and here it can be like JC or CJ, but the minimum is nothing but here this value -5 is nothing but coming from JC, okay, -5, and this is coming from JJ or CC, not CJ, because if it considers as J, CJ is nothing but 2, but when we compare this JJ and CJ, then 0 is minimum, better than considering the other value, right? That's why we are considering minimum value here. When you come to logic also, you will understand actually. And then again we are considering only J here, so only considering the second column here, and that value we will keeping adding. So from here we are adding, it can be C also, so C plus J, -5 plus 2 is -3, and here since already we have JJ, so it's like -3 plus 0, and here from here since we have question mark, again there's a combination. It can be like from here it can be JC or JJ. So for JC the combinations will be -8, because -3 -5, and for JJ combination will be -3 plus 0. Okay, and same thing again question mark, right? So same thing will flow here also, but here we are again adding for this -3 and -3. Yeah, from here we are considering -8, we are passing it over here, and also we have to consider this +2, right? So -8 plus 2 is nothing but -2 plus -5, -8 plus 2 is nothing but -6. Okay, that is the next combination, CJ, right? So if you consider all this combination, when you compare the which is the very lower value, you will find -8 is the answer. So let's, I think this is a little confusing, but when I go to this answer, right, I think it will be more clear. Go to the logic. Okay, so here this, instead of this here answer, okay, answer I will just comment it out. And here we have to let us first read this length of str1, and once we read this length of str1, then we will define this data set. Okay, and as I told you before, I can consider one E5. Okay, and then first, I think first characters we have to always consider, because we cannot go from first character to the previous one, it will be out of bound error. So we will consider the first character. Here we are considering whether it is J or question mark. If it is J or question mark, then we are updating the second column as 0. And please note, it's not else if, we are updating if only, because question mark can be applicable to any value. So here if it is C or if it is C or question mark, then we are updating 0 0. Now same logic has to be repeated for I in range of 1 comma n. N is nothing but the length. Okay, n minus 1 it will become, and here we have to update the same thing. The only difference is here when we actually like check whether it is not equal to, we have to check for every character, not the first character, and that is the first change. And we have to check if it is not equal to C, means this means it can be J or question mark. Okay. And this means it can be C or question mark. Here also make sure it's not else if, but it is if condition, because we are considering question mark. If it is question mark, then we have to consider both the scenarios. We have to find the accumulative sum from both direction. Okay. And if it is not equal to J, then here we have to consider D of I1 is equal. We have to consider minimum value. Minimum, that existing value or the previous value, and only if it is not equal to J or question mark, not for C. That's fine. So that, and I minus 1. Or we also have to consider the scenario for like Cj or Jj, right? Cj, for Cj means nothing but x, so x means I have to add from the previous value, so it should go like diagonally, so minus 1, and I have to consider the first column of the previous cell, because I am considering the opposite characters, like not like here I'm checking J condition, but here I'm checking from C, I'm trying to get Cj combination, that's why I'm adding x here. Okay, so now same thing I am just repeating over here, but the only difference is here I am updating, if it is equal to C or question mark, I am updating the first character. Okay, and here I am checking the second character from the previous for any JC combinations. JC, yeah, correct, JC combination, that's why Y. Okay, so that's all. And finally I'm just need to find, once I'm done with all this looping, then I have to find whether answer is nothing but minimum value of the last value, right? ds n minus 1, either the first column or the second column. Okay, and then I will be replacing this with this. I think that should be fine, correct? Okay, let us see. And I'll be placing this code in the GitHub, so you can copy paste. Also, you can test it with this also. Just uncomment this and remove everything else. So that also will solve the test case test set 1 and 2. Okay, as you see here, this is now we passed the test set 3 also. Okay, so thank you guys. If you find this video very helpful, then do like and subscribe and share it with your friends. Okay, have a nice day. Bye.